live, eventually going to be on TV and our podcast as well. We've got some great guests here in the studio. My name is Bill Wadell. We are here at the WFXR News Studio in Roanoke, and we're talking about your business and your delegates today. We're looking at what accomplishments have happened by our legislators, and also what everything happening in Richmond over the past few months, what it means for our business leaders and our business owners. We have a roundtable today with a few special guests. We've got Lynda McNutt Foster, CEO of Cortex Leadership Consulting. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely.
We appreciate it. And of course, if you're watching on Facebook Live, chime in with your comments at any time. We also have Delegate Chris Head, Republican in the 17th District. Thanks so much for joining us.
Glad to be here.
You happen to be a graduate of the program as well.
I am.
Paid off. Moving right down the line, we've got Delegate Rasoul, Democrat serving the 11th District. Thanks for joining us.
Good to be with you. I'm not smart enough to be in the program yet. But
It's always time. We've got Baraka Kasongo, the CEO of Volatia Language Network. Also familiar face here on WFXR and Virginia First, Virginia at Work, leader who inspires for the month of February.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. We appreciate it. So this is just an opportunity. Lynda kind of came up with it. We just wanted to get people together to talk about all the changes that happened at the legislative session in Richmond and what it means for business leaders.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris and Sam are both a friend of mine, and I work with Baraka, and I thought, let's have a discussion. You guys spend a lot of time and energy. I mean, being a delegate is not an easy thing. You have lives, you have businesses that you run, and then you sort of squish in this intense period of time where you go and try to work together the way I know that you guys do, to serve us as business owners and my clients. So I wanted to have a real discussion about some of the real takeaways that you guys did such hard work on these last few months up in Richmond.
And we've been reading a lot of reports. We've been talking about it on the news, some bills that have passed, other things, specifically business-wise. And this is a question for both of you. Is there anything that sticks out in your mind in the past few months that really matters, that really has an impact on business leaders or business owners?
There's a lot. There's a lot. First of all, just the fact that we have a balanced budget and that we're able to get that done and hash things through and make the necessary tough calls in Virginia. The difference in the way things run in Richmond versus just 90 miles up the road in Washington is just night and day. One of the things is that we actually sit down beside each other even sometimes during session, right? And have conversations across the aisle. Because here I am as a Republican and Sam as a Democrat. We actually can talk about things without throwing bombs at each other all the time, which is a good thing. And I think that helps the business climate in Virginia, just in general, to know that we are collaborative and that we're really able to work together. Now, that having been said, we were able to get a budget out. It's now sitting with the governor, but we had a tough road to hoe when we got there because of the budget shortfalls that we had. But there was also some pretty substantive legislation.
And can you tell me, Sam, this is in our corner of Virginia, Central and Southwest, especially for business owners, there's some different challenges compared to other parts of Virginia. How important is it to fight for this area?
well, a lot of our challenges are actually more geographic than they are partisan. And so I think just in our past couple of years, many of us are relatively new. In the past couple of years, we've done a good job of getting together when we need to and fight for Southwest Virginia and the Roanoke Valley in particular. And over the past 18 months, we've really had some great victories that we can hang our hat on. Lots more work to do for sure, but it's great to see people from all walks of life coming together for the good of the valley.
The top of your list, what's at the top right now as far as fostering business or helping out business owners?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is actually fostering a more productive and political environment. What business owners and everyday citizens do not want to see is a lot of what we see in Washington is just a political environment where the interests are R versus D, and people clearly are saying, well, you're not really fighting for me. And so if we can, everything that we can be doing to foster a better, more productive environment and put partisanship aside, I think that really sends a good message that, hey, Virginia really is open for business and putting its citizens first.
Are there any challenges when it comes to attracting businesses to Virginia? We've had a couple great announcements in the past few months of new businesses coming in, hundreds of jobs being created or being transferred to this area. do you have any struggles compared to other states as far as competition?
Well, North Carolina has worked very hard to lower their business licensing. Their corporate tax rate is lower than ours. So we have to come up with some other things along the line to be able to attract business in here. The biggest things that we've had and I've begun to address in this area is I would meet with the prospective businesses and folks that wanted to come here to expand business into the Roanoke Valley. Over the last several years, the two things consistently that I would hear are that we needed better broadband and better business broadband and a better trained workforce. And over the last few years, we've taken some pretty dramatic steps to facilitate that. We had legislation about that this year for the Broadband Authority that was highly debated, hotly debated at times, and that bill morphed around in a lot of different facets before it finally got through. But we've got the Broadband Authority here in the Roanoke Valley that's working with that to make sure that business has access to it, that it's reliable and low cost. And that really is the sticking point, and it's got to be there for business. The trained workforce, we continue to take steps to offer alternative pathways for people so that we can get people into lower cost college, career and technical pathways, expansion. We had a budget amendment that's in the budget that Delegate Terry Austin put forward that would expand out some of the mechatronics work that we have here, because that's been so critically important to bringing in some of that new industry. Eldor Corporation would not have come about but for that program at Virginia Western, and now we're able to continue to go down the road with that.
I really want to second the point about the broadband. I think sometimes it gets lost that broadband is not just another commodity. It is the lifeline for business, for education, and so it's important for us to ensure that there's a great market there, and that competition is important as we move forward. One thing that I will tell you that businesses are not looking for, and again to draw on North Carolina, regardless of how you feel about the issues, certainly the issues surrounding the HB2 legislation down in North Carolina, so many very large companies pulled out or pulling away or didn't close deals because of the socially divisive nature of it. So regardless of how you feel about it, which is fine because we all have different emotions about some of these issues, just understanding that it doesn't necessarily foster a good business environment.
Absolutely. And there's a couple questions I do want to follow up on, but I need to include Baraka because we had to get both sides of the table. And Lynda, you're familiar with a success story right here in the Roanoke Valley, because talking about businesses growing, fostering growth, and technology, innovation, we've got a great example right here.
Well, we do, and I do. Since we were talking sort of about the diverse workforce, because I think that's what's being challenged right now with a lot of companies is that they want to be sure that their diverse workforce feels welcome wherever they decide to house their business or their events. And Baraka is really the epitome of a diverse workforce because he does live interpretations within minutes. So he has 2,000 interpreters, and they translate over 280 different languages. So I don't know that a workforce gets any more diverse than yours, Baraka.
Well, we've certainly been privileged to have to grow a large network of linguists throughout the Commonwealth, much less around the country. But 2,000 interpreters was just maybe a year and a half ago. We're well over 3,000 interpreters just right here in the Commonwealth. And really the measure of growth that happens when diversity is infused into a business is just, it's almost difficult to measure as to what really causes the growth. But in my organization, we really believe that it's the diversity of thought that happens when people from various backgrounds come together. And as it relates to our legislative body, I do believe that they have such a strong influence in how we continue on this journey here in the country, especially as the country is striving to adjust to change. And I think it's a beautiful thing to see because it's really the democratic platform that the rest of the world is trying to aspire to model. But as we adjust to this change, I think there is so much fear. And I doubt there is any organization in this city, here within the city of Roanoke that feels the impact of the change that's happening than mine, where we have interpreters from all over the world, and we have families that we're serving from all over the world, thousands of people that we serve on a monthly basis, that these folks, their perception on creating stability within our community is so important that I'm hoping to see what their take on the various immigration policies that are coming out. And when we get in this area, so much gets lost between politics, whether, what party you're supporting or what your stand on it is, but at the end of the day, we have to realize that we are in communities, and we have to still have functioning communities, and everything that these folks, the policies that they support or that they encourage or influence, these policies are strengthening our communities or weakening our communities. So I'm really hoping that there is a strong conversation that comes out of it.
Absolutely. We've got a couple questions that we're going to be asking all down the line. So if you have any questions, if you happen to be watching on Facebook Live, you can post your questions. Let us know. Stick with us. We'll be right there.